The legacy of SpongeBob, Nickelodeon's biggest hit. For over 2 solid decades, SpongeBob SquarePants has entertained children all over the world. But just what is it that's made this iconic series so, well, iconic? Brief note. To prematurely address the elephant in the room, I will not be talking about the controversy regarding the spin-offs that were announced shortly after Stephen Hillenburg's death, as that's not relevant to the point of this article. Instead, I'll be focusing on his creation and the massive impact it had on both children's television and pop culture in general. Are you ready, kids? Time for some background info. SpongeBob SquarePants was created by marine biologist / animator Stephen Hillenburg. Hillenburg was the author and illustrator of an unpublished educational comic called The Intertidal Zone, which he used while teaching at the Orange County Marine Institute. While working as a creative director on the early Nickelodeon series Rocko's Modern Life, show writer Martin Olson read The Intertidal Zone and was impressed by what he saw. He suggested that Stephen Hillenburg pitch his own show to Nickelodeon. Hillenburg eventually went on to do just that. The show idea that he proposed was called SpongeBoy Ahoy, though it was soon discovered that SpongeBoy was trademarked by a mop company. Nickelodeon executives decided to give the series the green light, and in the summer of 1999, the pilot for SpongeBob SquarePants was aired on the network. I'm sure by now just about everyone knows what SpongeBob is, but for the sake of keeping it simple, here's the rundown. The show centers around the titular SpongeBob, voiced by Tom Kenny, an overly optimistic sea sponge who lives in a town called Bikini Bottom. He hangs out with his best friend, a sea star named Patrick, gets on the nerves of his neighbor, an octopus named Squidward, and goes to work at a fast food joint run by the money-loving Mr. Krabs. It was a massive hit, and went on to inspire multiple tie-in video games that were adored by fans. 3 separate theatrical films, with apparently a 4th on the way.
Take it easy! What the scallop? I'm a goofy goober!
And even a few spin-off shows.
I'm Patrick Star, and I live with my parents! Oh, this is my...
Beyond nautical nonsense, what's the appeal? It goes without saying that in the 22-plus years the show has been on the air, SpongeBob SquarePants has managed to avoid falling out of relevancy. But why, though? On paper, it sounds like a fun idea for a children's cartoon, but what exactly turned this show, of all shows, into the longest-running series on the channel? One major factor that I feel contributed to the show's success is the characters. First off, the appeal of SpongeBob himself is crystal clear. Despite being an adult, he's super energetic and upbeat, with a strong sense of childlike enthusiasm.
Imagination. I can be anything I want. A pirate. Arr. A football player.
He's also extremely optimistic, always trying to make the best of whatever situation he finds himself in. The way I see it, this is an excellent character that seems tailor-made for kids to love. The other characters work just as well, from the dim-witted best friend Patrick.
No? What do you normally do when I'm gone?
Wait for you to get back.
Wait a second, Patrick.
To the disgruntled neighbor Squidward, who's forced to put up with whatever silly antics SpongeBob might be up to. The personalities of not just these 3, but the rest of the cast bounce off each other nicely. The painted backgrounds look very nice, and the designs of the characters are as distinct as their personalities. On top of that, there's plenty of unique scenarios and ideas present throughout the show that simply ooze charm. From jellyfish that share combined qualities of both bees and butterflies, to a pair of retired humanoid superheroes inspired by Adam West's Batman.
There's evil afoot.
What? Evil?
To a petty business rivalry instigated by a planktonic copepod. These ideas may sound odd when taken out of context, but in the show, they really work. unexpectedly great writing. However, the biggest reason why SpongeBob wound up winning not just kids, but people in general, the world over, has to do with the writing. Specifically, that of the first 3 seasons.
Good for your soul.
Oh, please. I have no soul.
The overall quality of the show's writing wasn't quite what one might expect when tuning into a show about a sentient sponge who works at an undersea fast food joint. What caught many off guard was just how much genuine effort went into the show's sense of humor. SpongeBob SquarePants offered more than just slapstick and amusing one-liners. A lot of the humorous dialogue felt like it was aimed just as much at adults as it was kids, with a lot of cleverness and well-timed punchlines.
Firmly grasp it!
I'm not going to start listing examples of this, as early SpongeBob humor is something that must be seen to be properly experienced. But it's abundantly clear the writers didn't hold back any of their comedic talent simply because they were working on a children's show. This, in combination with the aspects discussed above, made for a show that really stood out above the rest. What kept it afloat? There was what was considered a period of decline for the show. After Stephen Hillenburg left the series following the film, many fans were dissatisfied with newer episodes for a decent period of time. To a lot of people, a lot of the charm the writing of the first 3 seasons carried began to fade out without Hillenburg to supervise. However, the show was still a massive hit for the network and the show's target audience, and personally, I think this has to do with the fact that SpongeBob was a character that was already liked by children the world over. There was a certain comfort in having a massive hit still being around, especially off the recent success of the hit movie.
Wow, the pressure's already setting in.
No, Pat, you don't understand. I didn't get...
After years of success, a show like this wasn't about to bite the dust simply because the new episodes were facing some criticism. Even if people felt like the writing and the characterization of the show fell off, SpongeBob was still SpongeBob, and Nickelodeon wasn't about to let go of that anytime soon. In today's day and age, many people have felt like SpongeBob SquarePants has long since recovered from this period of less than positive reception. The newer episodes are generally seen as pretty good for the most part, and the show continues to bring in high ratings, even though it's gone through a few hiatuses as of late, which may be thanks in part to the 2 spin-off shows that both debuted last year. SpongeBob SquarePants continues to thrive to this day. Conclusion: while many cartoons aimed at kids have strong adult followings, it's hard not to see why that was the case with SpongeBob SquarePants. It's a genuinely fun series with heart, humor, and charm. There's a reason why so many people have uploaded isolated clips from the show onto YouTube. There's a reason why the show has been quoted endlessly throughout the years. And there's a reason why the show has spawned countless memes, parodies, and other assorted fan works. Even with certain seasons of the show being seen in a less than favorable light, the show's characters have remained a staple of American pop culture, and kids all around the world continue to watch it and love it. That's not even getting into the glowing reception of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, or some of the early tie-in video games, like the ever-remembered Battle for Bikini Bottom. It goes without saying that SpongeBob will remain on our television screens for many moons to come. And regardless of your feelings towards the franchise, it's impossible to deny that it's become one of the most iconic children's shows of all time.